Welcome to the Warband, a World of Warcraft podcast. My name is Swaglock. With me today, my best friend, Chicken. And on last week's episode, we may have talked pretty poorly about Decor Duels and how it was a lesser version of, the classic prop hunt game mode that you can play many games out there. But since that episode released, we have actually been informed, we have been updated that we misunderstood the real purpose of prop hunt. That Chicken and I didn't understand why Decor Duels was added into WoW and why it's such a valuable and important update to the game. So we want to get that out of the way first and explain why Decor Duels may be one of the better additions to the game in recent WoW history. And that is because Decor Duels allows you to unlock a bench toy, and that bench toy, called the animated bench toy, can be used to get out of the boss's grip on the final boss in Skyreach.
Yeah, what the heck is up with that? There's no way that doesn't get patched. There's no way.
No way. No way at all.
That gets patched, before this airs.
What I'm curious about, though,
Actually,
is...
no, it'll get patched on Tuesday. Sorry.
Do you think there's any chance that works for the bats in Pit of Saren?
I don't know.
Dude,
the bats?
Yeah, the bats in Pit of Saren that just, lift you up and drop you?
No, I don't think I do.
Okay, wait.
Am I,
Well, they don't affect the
right
tank.
now?
Yeah, you're botting right now. They don't affect the tank, which maybe is why you haven't noticed. And you've pugged. You've pugged most of your run, so maybe it just wasn't on your radar. Whereas, when you're in voice chat with, friends or guildies, they're, screaming about it the whole time. But essentially in Pit,
gotcha.
in Pit, there are these bats that grab random players. I believe it's DPS and healers, because I think I've gotten as a healer before. And they'll grab you, and they'll carry you up real high, and then they'll drop you. And the idea is that you want to use some, I guess, a root removal, snare removal or something to get out of it, like a Blessing of Freedom. However, I was just running a Pit of Saren 14 earlier, right before recording this, and we didn't have anything in the group to handle it. Just nobody, by chance, nobody had anything. It was just a group of friends that we were running keys, and that's the key we had. And the best we had outside just slamming defensives every time we got picked was our healer was trying to get the I was jokingly called uppies, but it's the floating whatever the floating buff that priests can give, the one that lets you float above everybody.
Oh yeah, I know. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it might just be called float, to be honest. I don't remember.
I don't remember what it's called, but it's definitely not called float.
No, it's definitely not called uppies, but I like to think with uppies. So anyways,
definitely.
Our healers spamming uppies every time somebody is about to be dropped. And then our Demon Hunter, we had a Demon Hunter in a group, and he's joking. He's like, man, I wish you would just pick me instead, because I have wings. I can just, glide down to the ground. So he gets picked, and he's like, ha, sucker, this can't do nothing to me. I'm a Demon Hunter. And then he gets dropped, and I guess it, stunned him when it went to drop him. So he, couldn't do anything. He just died.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it was actually a very good, iconic comedic moment. It was fantastic.
Meme. That got him.
Yeah, but now I'm curious if the bench would be able to get you out of that situation. The animated bench toy from Decor Duels.
Yeah, it is that definitely gets patched tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Because there's also
Tuesday.
Yeah, there's also the parasol. I know there's a parasol that you get in Shadowlands, but then there's the parasol, different colored parasol options that you can get from the trading post every once in a while. And there have been times in dungeons where those were helpful. I can think of the one, the rookery. The rookery was one, right, where you could float down and land in a certain spot.
Yeah.
You could also just jump. You could just jump in the right angle and do it right, but it kind of guaranteed that you were going to get where you wanted to go, right? If you use the parasol, it wasn't as much of a risk. So there's been moments where toys have been helpful. Blizzard hasn't always patched them out. But this is the first time we've seen it where it's not just a toy to route slightly better. It's a toy that actually gets you out of a mechanic. And that's curious, And I wonder if Blizzard thinks about those things when they add something in where oh, this is a toy that puts a bench down that you can sit on. Is somebody at Blizzard wow, they're going to use that to get out of mechanic?
They never think about that stuff. I low key, someone is somewhere just saying hey, I'm gonna try to exploit the game as you know, as most
Yeah.
like I never understood that. Like I don't like there's no way like that happens by accident, right?
Yeah.
Like
Oh yeah. No.
like
Nobody's putting that bench down randomly in combat and go, oh wow,
like
this actually did
I
something.
just
Yeah.
you don't think?
It's definitely somebody being intentional, being like, oh, let's try this. This might work. This might get us out of here.
I used to always think like when people found like exploits on like Call of Duty, like, oh, I got out of the map. Like how did you find that? Like it wasn't on purpose. Like you were looking for that,
I
right?
will say there have been multiple times I've found weird exploits to end up places I shouldn't end up or stuff like that. A lot in games, but I tend to have like weird erratic movements. I'm not searching for it. I just tend to do weird things that most people don't do, and then I end up in like weird spots. I'm like, huh, that's weird. I'm not looking, but I'll like jump on things or jump behind things or run into corners that normal people wouldn't try to run into.
Sure,
Yeah.
but like
And
I
then,
don't know. I
yeah,
consider that more of like well, I don't know if I consider
but
that more or less like an exploit.
But in this case, nobody's in the middle of that fight putting the bench down because they think it's funny to put a toy down, right? Like they're trying to do something.
Yeah, unless they're like it's like on their hotkey and they accidentally pressed it.
Now, here's the question I have for you, though, Chicken. Here's the question
I don't
have
know
for
who's
you.
got that on their hotkey though. Let's be honest.
Here's the question
Yeah.
I have. Like, do you actually want Blizzard to better test these things to avoid this in the future?
No.
No, definitely not. I will say, like,
I
when these
mean,
things are found, dude, that's fun. That's like, I really hope Blizzard doesn't patch it. Like, that's just fun. That's patch it for next season. Like, patch it for a future season, but just like let it ride out at this point.
what wasn't there one in? I swear there was like one in the season 2 of The War Within that just like was stupid, but then they ended up hot fixing it like the next day. I forget what it was.
I think if it gives way too much of an advantage and it's hard to obtain, then Blizzard should do something. But like the bench is super easy to get right now because it's a decor duel like reward, right? So go run a couple decor duels, bam, buy the bench, you're done. Anybody can get it at this moment, so that's pretty convenient. I don't know, man. Sometimes it's fun. Like sometimes it's when some of these exploits, we could call it tech, right? Like I think WoW players call things tech when they don't want to say the word exploit. Like I don't know if I want to call it an exploit. It's tech. Whether you call it an exploit or tech, sometimes they're fun. Like sometimes it's like, oh, we found like I know there's like a spot I can hold the bird boss in Mizara Caverns and it won't like do its charge or whatever, and that's cool. That's fun. That's exciting.
Does that actually exist?
There's something there. I have to look it up. Like somebody showed me a video. Somebody showed me a video at one point, and I haven't gone back to watch it to learn it. But it's something. It's fun when you're like, oh, right. Like if I hold the boss here, if I do this, if I grab this mob at this time, right? Like those things can be really fun. And sometimes I think Blizzard can, in an attempt to make us play the game that they intended us to play, which to be fair, they make a dang good game. So for sure, they want us to experience the way it was intended to be experienced. But sometimes it's fun to just allow some of that craziness, right? The craziness of things is what we remember. Like the weird things is what we remember, right? Like when I think of playing the OG Pokemon games, right? There's some like good memories that I have of doing stuff, but it was always me trying to do like the crazy, weird, stupid things that I remember the most, right? Like trying to find some way to use strength to push that pickup truck in was it Vermilion City or whatever the
oh my gosh, yeah.
Right? You know, trying to push that truck so I can get a Mew, right? Those are like the moments that you remember, those weird moments. When I think on like past WoW seasons, again, those are the things that I'm going to remember. Like I don't remember most things from most dungeons in the War Within. At this point, my brain's kind of moved on. Most of that info wasn't super necessary. But I for sure, like that parasol thing, I remember that so well because it's just like a fun, unique, like kind of like anytime you find something like funky, it's fun. I think of like Stone Vault as well, right? Like there's a spot where you're running to the final boss, right? You first get to the hallway with the last boss in it. And you hold these like dwarves in like a weird corner, right?
Yeah.
And sure, like, is it an exploit? Not really.
No, that's definitely not an exploit.
That's really
just good tech.
But like, was it intended by the developers that we would pull those mobs into that one little cool looking corner? And like,
probably not.
No, definitely not, right? but it's more fun that way. Like when you're like, oh, we found a way to handle this that wasn't intended. The games are always more fun. Like when you're playing D&D and like you solve a problem in a way that the dungeon master definitely did not consider you solving that problem in. Those are the best games. Like the best games of Dungeons and Dragons are when you don't do what your dungeon master expects. Right now, your DM is probably like, oh man, but I've curated the perfect game. But it's always at its best when everybody has to kind of improv a little bit, including the DM, and like kind of figure things out. And I think WoW dungeons are similar, and WoW content's similar, where like sometimes it's more fun to think outside the box, right?
Yeah.
Outside the bell, dude. This podcast is sponsored by Taco Bell. You can pick up your chicken chalupas today. I think they still probably have those on the menu. I'm not sure.
I'm trying to think. Oh, there's also that like oh my goodness, what was it? Grimbatol on the third boss when you just like stood next to that door.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, dude, I hated Grimbatol. But let me tell you, as a tank, bro, I felt so epic every time I pulled him in that corner. Did every other tank do the same thing? Yeah, absolutely. But when you go in that corner and it shoves you into first-person view because it's too tight, and you have no clue what the heck is going on, but you're just sitting there tanking, you're like, I have no clue what's happening.
First person.
But, so good, man. And it makes the boss, because that was a freaking hard boss too, right?
Yeah, it was like an annoying boss.
But also, like, again, do you think players would have come across that if that boss was tuned easier, right? Like, because that boss was really hard, right? And so it almost became like you had to do that tech in order to complete that fight. In many cases, it just was a stupidly difficult fight otherwise. And sometimes tech kind of comes about due to requirement, right? Like sometimes we find these stupid things because it's such a pain, right? Like, again, does that speak into that last mechanic on Skyreach, right? That final boss where the bird's pulling you away. Did players find that because they're like, oh, this mechanic's too much of a pain to deal with, right? I've pugged too many times and my pugs aren't refocusing on the bird, and now I'm dying because of what they're doing. Or even just like, oh, it hurts us too much to focus our damage away from the boss. What can we do? Oftentimes these techs, these exploits come out of necessity.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I wonder how people come up with these. Like, I really do. Like, someone somewhere probably was testing that toy on something else to see if it would work, and then they're like, maybe this would work on that. But like, I don't know. Some of them I feel like just have to be like memes. Like that Grimbatol one had to be like someone was just like, oh, I'm just gonna drag him over here, and then they did it, and they're like, whoa, that was really easy. That one had to be a meme. Like, come on, there's no way that was real.
For sure.
Anyway.
No, yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. Well, no, because even the Grimbatol one though, like I wouldn't be surprised if somebody was just sitting there thinking like, oh, this boss is so hard. Like, what can we do to like negate the mechanic? Now, was it somebody just came across by accident and was like, oh, this actually kind of rips, let's keep doing this? Or did somebody go, oh, you know what, if we hold the boss here, doesn't that like limit where tornadoes can spawn, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's kind of neat though.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. So, Chicken, for the third week in a row, there's another update on repairs. What's going on there? I don't think I read up on that yet.
Oh, it's not anything crazy. Okay. It's just, and they don't give anything like any. Again, like to be honest, I don't know how repairs truly work. Like, I really don't. I don't know what the percentage is and yada yada yada. But there was a blue post that they made some changes to the PTR with some stuff, something I don't even know what it is. Something with world drops, but then also weapons and armor will no longer take durability damage from combat events.
Oh.
Which I was like, I don't know what that means.
Oh, I think that was what we talked about last week.
Are you sure?
Yeah, so basically, and we did talk about last week, I think, or 2 weeks ago, I think it was last week though. Being in combat like just combat itself no longer like hurts your armor the way it did before. It's like before, simply being in combat, not even dying, just being in combat would wear your armor out. And now it's more reliant on actually having to die for your armor to be negated.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't understand what. Because last week I thought you just said it was your weapon.
I think your weapon, unless there was a newer update than what I saw that went even further, which is possible. But I know
this one did come out more recently, but just because it came out more recently, this blue post came out more recently, is what I was saying.
Oh yeah, I see this posted 3 days ago.
Yeah, I don't like. Yeah, because I could have swore what you said was just weapon, but this definitely says weapons and armor. But I don't see anything.
Weapons and armors will no longer take durability damage from combat events. Developer notes this type of durability damage affected different class specs in an asymmetrical way. With this change, all players should experience less durability damage in 12.7, but in particular, players who use shields or fast weapons should see significantly less durability damage from wear and tear. So you're right. It doesn't seem to... Actually, I think it's mostly just talking about... It's hard to tell. Right, because the combat events are attacking and blocking, so it's hard to tell if that's like the armor is only shield, or is it like all your armor? Either way,
kind of vague.
Yeah,
it is super vague.
Either way, though, the last week when we talked about it, I think somebody had ran a test to see how much it actually affected like cost, and like cost for repair was like way down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because of that. Like you just had like much less durability loss. I mean, the cost to repair thing was roughly the same, but how often you're repairing was like significantly less.
Oh, that's nice.
And then so we have an official date for 12.0.7.
Yeah, I think we had an official date. I think it's just that the fact that it's in like 1 week, there's just like some hype around it. So it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything like major like this is gonna be like revolutionary or game changing.
Yeah,
they got the raid, but like it's a one boss raid, you know what I mean?
The thing though is like our raid team is starting to lose a little steam on Mythic. We're doing well, actually. I think this past week was really good. We've only been able to really do Mythic once a week. We've been struggling to get everybody for both nights, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. However, our last attempt in Mythic, we got Chimeras down again. So it was our second kill on Chimeras. And then we went to Void Spire, and we took out the first boss in Void Spire. And then I think we went to the second boss in Void Spire. I don't think we got them down. So I don't think we got a third Mythic boss down. But we did... I'm trying to make sure I get this right. We did get like really close. I think like we would have had, if we had time for one more pull or like 2 more pulls, we would have had that boss. We like pulled up to him with like 10 minutes left on the clock. We're like, oh, let's just see what happens. Let's give it a try. And I think we could have gotten him. They're both significantly easier than Chimeras was. Oh my goodness. Way easier. I think Heroic Chimeras is like really easy, so we don't think about it too much. But then like Mythic Chimeras with like the fear mechanic gets like really weird, and the overlap gets really weird. So it was encouraging to our team to go into Void Spire and just like do pretty well with like a small amount of time in Void Spire, do pretty well. So I suspect we'll be raiding Mythic again. I think we'll have enough people this week. We're only raiding Mythic one night this week. We're going to be raiding normal the other night with our raid team. To do like an achievement run to try and get the achievement mount, which is always fun. Anyways, but I bring all that up. Kind of sounds off topic. I bring up just say like, honestly, June 16th feels really good in terms of like timing, because that will come out in a moment that maybe can refresh our raid team a little bit. Maybe it gives us a chance to pull some people out of the woodworks and kind of beef up the team. And who knows, maybe it'll give us enough life to get a few more weeks of raiding in. Even if it's not a lot of raiding, right? Or even just like 2 more weeks of raiding would have me happy.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, achievement night, that's pretty fun. What's the mount look like? Is it cool?
The
achievement mount.
No.
The achievement mount.
I think some people probably think it's cool. It's one of those like
You mean no as in like you don't think it's cool?
I don't. I mean, it's not a mount type that I like. It's that like
Oh.
yeah, you remember like the gargoyle mount from Revendreth? The one with like the wings and stuff and like flies and like runs around. The type of mount. It's the type of mount that like stands kind of on two legs, but also runs with like its knuckles on the ground.
Yeah.
But they fly. They have like wings and stuff. Yeah, it's one of those, but voidy, like whatever the void thing is of that, with like some gold armor. So kind of reminds you of the AOTC dragon, like in color. Reminds you of the coloring of the AOTC dragon from last season.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but that style of mount is not usually one I go for. I think some people really like it. I know it's like the same model they use for, like, not the same exact model, but the same skeleton they use for the like Diablo crossover mount that they gave us. And some other stuff use that mount as well. I know people like it. It's just not my usual preference.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at the mount right now, but I'm not. I just need to look it up. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. Sometimes, dude, some of those achievement mounts are lit.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are like, okay, yeah, this is it. Oh yeah. I mean, it's okay. Like I don't disagree with you. I don't think I would, go for it, but it's okay. It's not the worst mount I've ever seen. It's not the best.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I think some people will like it. I'm gonna go do the achievement run, so I have it, right? I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those guys who's like, I need to have every mount just to have every mount. But sometimes if it's like easy enough to get, and I can go hang out with friends and get it, even if I don't love it, why not? Like, why not go do it? It'll be the journey. The journey will be fun, right?
The journey.
It's
all about the journey.
The real mount is the friends we make along the way, right?
Yeah. Like for an achievement mount, that is okay.
Mm-hmm.
If that was like an AOTC mount, then I'd be like, okay, what's going on here? What's going on here, guys?
What is happening? What are you guys doing?
Like, that's subpar for an AOTC mount.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think the AOTC mount from last expansion was kind of garbo.
You know what? I'll never complain about a dragon. I know we got a ton of dragons in Dragonflight, so we feel out dragon, but I'll never complain about dragon mount.
I don't know. Like, I think of some of the old ones, like the Halandris mount.
You know, that's the problem, though. Halandris was your first AOTC mount. Also my first AOTC mount. And, dude, that one's that mount kind of spoils. That's such a good,
Dude, that's
AOTC
probably,
mount.
like, in my opinion, maybe, like, top 3 mounts in the game.
Oh, such an amazing mount. And the fact that they've never, like, used that skeleton again for anything is crazy to me.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
I'm sure they will.
I would actually be kind of shocked if they used it.
So I was walking around Silvermoon the other day. My wife and I were gaming together, and lately she started to notice mounts that people use. Before she didn't really care too much about mounts, but now she's starting to notice mounts. We had gone out and started collecting new pets for her as a hunter. So she has some cool pets that she's really excited about. So she's been having a lot of fun. But she's starting to notice mounts recently. And so the other day we're walking through Silvermoon, and she just goes, "Whoa, this mount's so cool. Come check it out." And so I'm heading over to her, and I'm like, "Oh, what kind of mount is it?" And guess what? Guess what she says?
What?
Guess. I want you to guess. I'm gonna give you 3 guesses.
It's a unicorn.
Nope. She does have a couple unicorns from Legion already. From
right.
Remix.
It's a butterfly.
No, although I think she does have one from the trading post. So
it's a bee.
No. What mount would make you the most angry? So there we are.
Chicken?
We're in Silvermoon, and she goes, "Wow, this mount is so cool." And I'm like, "Oh, what kind of mount is it? Let me come take a look." And she's like, "It's like some kind of jellyfish."
Oh man.
Dude,
man.
It was the off-brand, the Wish.com trading post version of the the jellyfish mount from Shadowlands. Not from Korthia, but from the place after, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
The one that you spent days farming for.
Yeah. Let's not talk about
The
it.
one you worked so
Oh,
hard for,
man.
man. Those are the moments that kind of
Good.
suck. And by the way, if they had added a silver version in, and it was like moderately difficult to get, but not nearly as difficult as the original, I'd be like, cool, whatevs, that's fine. I think to add a
Yeah.
slightly, not even majorly, just slightly color changed version of that mount to the trading post kind of felt like a slap in the face.
Oh, it does.
Yeah. If it was like
Yeah,
totally
that's-
different, if it was like, let's say it was like black, like let's say all the metal was black and then the inside was like a deep red, right? Like same model, right? But just like coloring was like so different. I don't know if it would have been as big of a deal because the gold would have stood out. But I don't think the gold stands out that much compared to the silver, right? Like it feels too close. It feels more like they just turned the saturation down a little bit.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
That one stings a little bit.
Yeah.
I forget about that one every once in a while because I don't want to think about it.
One thing
What can you do?
Yeah. One thing
Right?
I'm a proponent for, and the funny thing is, like, in my head, this is a nice idea, but I think for people who are like hardcore mount collectors, this actually is like a terrible idea. But who knows? You know, if anybody's listening and you are like a hardcore mount collector, I know we make fun of those guys a lot. I apologize. Not really, but I do apologize.
Do we actually make fun of them?
I do.
Oh yeah,
I think I get annoyed. I think I get annoyed when you're collecting simply for the number and then you get mad because you can't have like when you view collecting mounts as your content for WoW, to the point where you hate the idea of mounts existing that you can't get yourself. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, I mean,
Right.
okay. I yeah.
Like, how dare they make
don't
a
really count-
3400
yeah, sure.
rating mount, because I'm never going to get that high in M+, and that's not fair to me. That kind of attitude, right? That's not my
Yeah.
favorite, right? Like, let everybody have access to cool things through the different gameplay they do. But
Yeah,
anyways,
That's fair.
one thing I am a proponent for, and again, I don't like, if you're a hardcore mount collector, let me know in the comments if this would actually be satisfying or not satisfying. I wouldn't be opposed to things like AOTC mounts or even the cutting edge mount, right? If like when that season was over, similar to AOTC mount, it was just no longer available at all, right? Like you just could not get it. But they added a slightly color changed version to the loot pool as like a rare drop, right? So if you went back and farmed it, you could like get a similar one that wasn't the exact same, but it still took a while to farm. Like it wasn't just like a trading post. Here you go. Like,
Yeah.
and then to me that would be cool because it's like, oh, I like that mount. I still can't get the exact original one, but I can get one that's like pretty dang close. But also it's not so easy that it like completely trivializes the original achievement, even if the achievements are easy. I don't care if you think AOTC is like an easy achievement. It's an achievement. You know, like end of day, it's an achievement. Deal with it. But the right, and to me that's cool, but I don't know if that would actually be satisfying for people. But the idea of like, oh hey, like the Halandris mount, right, from Sepulchre, right? If it was like, oh hey, the only way to get Halandris is getting the AOTC achievement. But you know what? When Shadowlands is over, we're actually going to add one to the loot pool for people who want to farm it. And it's very similar, but it's just like a little different color, but enough different that like at a distance you can tell it's not the same exact one. What's cool about that too, though, is it makes both of them cool, right? Like both mounts become cool, the farmed one and the original one. Both have value more than maybe like, hey, we know you like this mount, so we recolored it and put it on the trading post.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily hate it. I mean, maybe if it was a cool enough mount, I would farm it.
That's true.
I just think people get like so up in arms about that when you and like I like the whatever one, the jellyfish one, like that one I can like, it's just one of those things where I was just like, okay, like what can I do about it?
What can I do?
Because that one took zero skill whatsoever. Like it was literally just like, I'm pretty sure I figured out a way to fish like in the background, like, so I could do like other things while I was fishing.
Yeah.
Like I don't remember how I did it, but like I would literally just do that in the background. Like I'm pretty sure I fished like 1,000 times.
But it's still
But
like it was still something you put time into, right?
yeah, and that's fine. But like I feel like once you add like the skill aspect to it, people are like, well,
Yeah.
I've been playing for 10 years and I've learned the best and the best way to play Blood DK, and that's like only the few and the proud and the Blood DKs get get cutting it, you know what I mean? Like then it's like, okay, like that's fine, but it's okay. I feel like it's okay if we just do like a slightly different version, right? Like, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, for sure. For
I
sure.
think people get upset about it, but to me, I don't really care, but I guess I've never been in that situation, so I might care if I get put in that situation.
Yeah, I'm also like, dude, I'm all for like letting, because honestly, I think players who have like those prestige mounts probably don't care as much to gatekeep that prestige mount as players who want that prestige mount, right?
Yeah.
For their collection. But with that said, though, just because they're like a little more passive about it doesn't mean that you have to like take that reward away, right? And so I think finding, but again, though, right? Like the question is, do you actually love that mount and really want that mount, or do you want that extra number on your mount list, right? Because if you're like, yo, that mount is sick, I love that mount, and you know what, I wasn't playing then at that time, or I wasn't like pushing, it just wasn't my style of content, so I never got that mount, but I always thought it was super cool. And now there's another one available that's slightly different. Maybe I like the color more, maybe I don't like the colors much, but it's close enough to that mount that I love that I want to go get it, and I'll be happy with it, right? Is that what's going to happen? Or is it like, oh, I just wanted that mount. Now Blizzard added another mount. So I can get the new mount, but that'll still never give me the tick on my, my mount log, my add-on that's tracking how many mounts I have in the game. Now I'll never 100%, right? And you're like, okay. That's cool, I guess.
To be honest, I get that too sometimes because I'm like, oh, like this mount's so cool. And I want it so bad, and then I'll get it, and then it's like I never use it. Like literally never, dude. There's so many mounts. Like I literally use like the same like 3 mounts.
Yeah. By the way, Touchpad Warrior, who we've had on the podcast a few times, not a few times, sorry, one time we have him on the podcast. I was on this stream though the other day watching, and I was like pretty impressed because he's a big mount farmer for sure, big mount farmer. And I was watching him push the 1% title because there's a mount involved with the 1%. Not the 0.1%, but the 1% title. And I was really impressed, right? Like, I was just really impressed that, like, he was looking at going, hey, I don't even know what that looks like, but I think as a mount farmer, it would be really cool to challenge myself well above and beyond what I would normally do to try and get that mount. And, dude, major props. Like, that kind of attitude is awesome.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, like, if whatever you got to do to get a mount is kind of the thing, and it's hard because some people just don't play at that skill level. I get it. I don't play PvP, but I really like some of the PvP mounts. You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely. So I have another kind of topic, right? We've been kind of going through some different, topical discussions on the podcast, which I think have been really fun. And this one comes from another podcast that was kind of discussing it a little bit. But I really liked the conversation. I wanted to keep the conversation going. I wanted to talk about in our perspective even. But, it's about housing. World of Warcraft housing. I love housing. My wife still interacts with housing a lot. She's always working on her housing stuff. But I also understand that, like, if you're not, like, a big housing player, a lot of people are kind of pulling away from housing. Even like when we had Morgan on the other day, she was talking about how even like people are super into housing are starting to pull back because now they're becoming more and more attached with their houses, and they're, you don't really want to delete it and start fresh if you don't have the security that you could bring it back if you change your mind, right?
Yeah.
So housing's kind of in this odd place where I would not say housing is a failure. I would not say housing is a flop,
Whoa,
right?
No, heck no.
Housing is phenomenal content, Blizzard. You guys put out some amazing stuff with that. So I'm not saying that at all, but I think there's a little bit of a question of like, how do you make housing we talked already about how to make housing more attractive for people who already love housing, right? Like that question was answered. But how do we make housing more attractive for the player that normally wouldn't be super into housing, right? Who it doesn't want to spend all the time saying they're building a house, but they would like an excuse to interact with houses sometimes. And one way that people often talk about it is like player power. Like, how do you attach player power? Do you put portals in your houses that take you to all the raids? Or do you, like, add in the ability to do all your blacksmithing at your house and have access to the auction house and the, whatever the thing is called that where people can, you know, do the labor work, make you the things. What's that called? When you're like, you know, it's not the auction house. It's not the trading post. The one where
the crafting,
crafting orders,
circle.
Whatever they call
crafting orders, whatever they're called.
I feel like they call it something, but anyways, do the crafting orders. I hate that all of those are different places, but whatever. You know, like
Fair.
oh hey, look, you can do your crafting orders in your house, right? Honestly, I think it'd be cool if the trading post stopped being located in major cities, and the trading post was like a caravan that just showed up in the neighborhoods. That'd actually be kind of low-key, like a little sick. That'd be a cool way to get people in the neighborhoods. Anyways.
That would be cool.
So part of the question today, though, isn't a player power question. Player power could come into it. Let me clarify. It could be a part of the solution. But the question we're asking isn't necessarily what would make people come back to their house for power reasons or for any reason. But what I want to ask is what would make housing more social? So, like, what would cause you to go to WoW Housing, Chicken, with other players, right? Like, what would make that happen?
Yeah. To be honest, I don't know. Like,
I thought that might kind of be the response of like, I don't know, like, is there even anything? So what? Yeah.
This is a hard one because, like, you think of player housing, and it's such like a like when I think of player housing, it's such a social. It's meant to be such like a social aspect of the game, right?
Yeah.
And it's meant to be it's meant to be that, hey, like this is the area we share. Like this is my kind of touch on this area. And you know, come check it out and come look at it, and then you know I'll come look at yours, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Right. And it kind of takes me to things like Minecraft, where you know you have you know realms that you play on, you share realms with other people, you share servers, right? And everyone kind of just builds their own thing, and then everyone goes on adventures, and it's not like, you know, maybe you're trying to find, you know, stuff to get to the Nether, right? And again, Minecraft reference. And that's fine. Like maybe your friend doesn't want to do that. He wants to go do something else, right?
Yeah.
And when I think of WoW and how they could do that with player housing, I think that's just what it is, right? Someone wants to go do dungeons, right? Okay, well that person, let them go. Maybe they want to do something else, right? And hey, these people want to go PvP. The only truly thing that I think they could do to make it more social, which they would never do this. I would be shocked if they did this. If they basically got rid of like the major cities and made you like make your like air quotes major city in your
neighborhood,
but I don't remember. It's Razor Shore. I don't remember what the
Founder's Point. Yeah, that would probably hurt.
Point,
that would probably hurt the social aspect of the game more. You right?
Yeah,
help
exactly.
It.
Well,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
so,
I agree.
So I want to propose an idea by you, and maybe this idea will spark more thought. Right? Maybe this idea we just expand upon it, or maybe we use it as a launching point to other ideas. Right? But let's say, Chicken, you were still raiding with us, right? Like. You were still able to come join us Wednesday, Thursday nights. You had the time availability. You were raiding with us. You're familiar with the Hardy Feasts, right? So they're feasts that continue past death, right? But they're expensive, dude. They're really pricey to make. So you don't really use them that often because it's kind of expensive. And sometimes it's just cheaper to put down a whole bunch of regular feasts and just put down the Hardy Feast. But what if like they made Hardy Feasts a little bit more affordable? Okay. or maybe they just lasted longer, right? So the Hardy Feast lasted longer. But the only way to get that benefit out of it was to use it inside a player house. So it was like, hey, look, this Hardy Feast lasts 1 hour. However, if you use it inside player housing, it will last 3 hours. And so your raid team goes like, hey guys, before raid tonight, we're all going to meet up in Swag's house. We're going to put down a Hardy Feast in there. 5 minutes, 10 minutes before like we go into the raid, so everybody can show up, eat the feast, and then head over. Right? Are there things like that are just small touch points that are like, oh hey, it kind of like that'd be kind of a vibe. Right now, the Hardy Feast is still viable for like a pug group. They can just drop it down if they want to. Although I don't think anybody's slamming Hardy Feasts in the pug group, anyways. Right? Nobody's willing to throw down that kind of cash for a random pug, but it would still technically be usable. However, now being a part of a guild, being in that community feels a little bit more valuable. It feels fun, right? And then there becomes like a little bit of like, dude, maybe this week it's like, yo, Swag's place is where we're getting the buff, and then Chicken's like, but guys, come to my place next week. Like, we're gonna do the buff at my house for the next raid night, and you can come check it out, walk around a little bit, kind of see it. That's the question I have. Are there some things that they could do that kind of maybe even as adventurers that you're like, oh yeah, this actually feels like a very natural use of player housing? And technically, does that feast give player power? Yes. But it's also incentivizing people to hang out and have community and like kind of feel like they're doing something social. And like, I actually think in this case, the player power benefits your experience of relationships in the game more than it just benefits your like, ability to do something.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, my take on that is, I mean, I think it takes away from the people that don't want to do that, because then they don't get the benefits from it. And I mean, it's one of those things of, okay, well, you want the benefit, you kind of have to, right? But
who do you think wouldn't want to do that?
What do you mean?
When you say it takes away from people who don't want to do that,
who wouldn't want to be in a neighborhood?
Like, who wouldn't want to just right-click their guild member's name and teleport to house and eat a feast and then go to raid?
What if they're not in a guild? What if they only pug raid?
Yeah. Well, we kind of talked about it, right? Like, yeah, but nobody's dropping a Hardy Feast anyways for a pug, right?
I don't know, dude. I've been in... Dude, you'd be surprised.
Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah,
I was in a dungeon the other day and someone dropped one. Low key, seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's definitely more improbable.
Yeah. I don't know, right?
Yeah. It's hard because, like, I don't know. To me, I think it's just gotta be some, like, not necessarily what you're saying in general. I think it's gotta just be some player power. Like, some player power needs to be there. And whether it's just the same things that you can get in a town or in the main city, like, like the crafting centers. Like, there are, you can go and learn crafting stuff in a town, right? And maybe you just have to go back for the vault, right?
Yeah.
Because most people have well, I shouldn't say everyone, and I shouldn't even say most people. Some people have the Brutosaurus. You can easily get the auction house in a town. Most people have, repair the yak. You can repair. You can do that kind of stuff. But having things like crafting, they can have the dragons that you can like upgrade your equipment, right? I think things like that make it more enticing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it hurts it. Like, I don't think it hurts the game to have those things there. Like, I really don't. Because, like, instead of me just walking around Silvermoon, then I guess I'm walking around my town, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
and I think that's what's hard, though, right? Like, is there a win? Is there a win in saying, hey, we moved you from doing your normal stuff in Silvermoon where other players are hanging out to doing stuff in your house by yourself? I don't know. I think some players would be like, I would way rather have that. I don't want to hang out in the soul room. Totally get that. Totally understand that. Do I agree? I don't know, but I get it. I guess my question though is like, what can they do that helps, even if it just helps a little bit for people to want to interact, with each other in housing, right? Not just like, oh, hey, you can now put your blacksmithing anvil in a house and do blacksmithing there, have fun, right? I don't know if that's a win, right? If it's just like, oh, hey, and I'll just go back to my house and I sit and do blacksmithing, right? Like, I think the best win with housing is when people are excited to represent their house, right? And so how do you like incentivize people doing things together? And I know there's like a big uproar over the like, oh, why is there a quest where we all have to gather inside someone's house and then we're given some crests for it? That's stupid. Like, players shouldn't get crests for that. At first I kind of felt a little bit that way. Like, hey, I don't know if I want like big power rewards coming from housing quests. But also, dude, like the times I've done that quest, have always been enjoyable. Like, I've always enjoyed it. Like, and by the way, the people who do that quest the most aren't even trying to get the crest. They're just trying to get the marl so they can buy more housing decor.
Really.
Right. They don't even pick the crest. They just pick the extra 500 marl and do that. But like every time I've done that quest, I'm like, oh, this is pleasant. I'm actually disappointed when that quest isn't on the list for the week, right? Like when it's one of the other ones, because I'm like, oh, dude, it's like actually fun. Like we'll like form a group for a dungeon, and we'll be like, hey, before you use dungeon, pop over to my house, and we'll all get this quest done. I can share it with you guys real fast.
Get over here,
right?
Nerds.
It's fun. Yeah. So finding those ways, and back to that original proposition, if I don't, right, and I think we'll talk about it in a moment too, but I'm not convinced that like people should be punished for being in a guild. And what I mean by that is the guild is the most natural and obvious way to create some really cool elements in World of Warcraft. And I think oftentimes we go, oh, no, we can't do that because what about people who don't want to be in a guild? And it's just like, oh, okay. That's
I
okay.
think right.
Yeah,
it's hard fine. Because
Okay, so here's a real world example. And some people will like this example, some people will hate this example. It is what it is. This is a personal example in my life, in the way that I experience life, right? So other people experience life differently. Some people be like, well, so I'm not in the exact situation you're in, but I still have people who do that same thing. So I understand that. I understand that I'm giving a very specific, and that others will have their own experience, and they'll probably have friends from other situations. So I recognize that. I'm not saying that you have to do it exactly like I do it, but I'll have to say, let's say I'm moving, right? Let's say I'm like moving to a new apartment or something. Dude, I would just call up some of my friends from church, right? Very close with like a lot of people, and be like, hey guys, I gotta move. It would help me out tremendously. Like if a couple of you guys with like trucks or trailers or something could help me like move some stuff, right? My mom rides horses, so maybe we'd be like, yo, we're gonna throw stuff in the horse trailer and just take it over and unload, right? Whatever.
And make the horses work.
Make the horses do the work, right? But right, having that community, right, has a real benefit in my life that like I don't have to like call a moving company for the vast majority of the things I have to move, right? Like maybe there's like one thing, but probably not even, right? Everything could be done just like by myself and with the help of my friends. And I think WoW is at its best when community is a benefit in the game, right? Like when your guild is a buff to you, that's when WoW's at its best. And I get that some players are going to want to be solo. And I think that when you make that choice, that's on you, right? That, hey, I made that choice. It is what it is. We have a couple solo players in our guild, right? Who are like very adamant solo players. They just kind of do their thing. They just kind of play by themselves. And once in a while, they'll be like, hey guys, I'm actually stuck on something. Could somebody pop over and just lend me a quick hand? Right? Like even for the solo player, right? Like there's a nice moment where you can just kind of do that and still have people who like care and they're around. So I say that real world example just to be like, sure. You know what? If people are only ever pugging raid and so they have to spend a little bit more gold on personal food or just using a bunch of feasts at the raid. Fine, that's okay, right? Like whatevs. Also, I think you can still teleport to the house of somebody in your group. So if that pug decides, oh, you know what, we will all teleport over to the chicken's house real quick and eat of his food and right, like get the big 3-hour buff.
Eat of his food.
That's fine too, right? Like that's also like a good answer. Like if you join a pug and you're like, hey guys, teleport to my house real quick. I'm gonna have this feast up for the next 5 minutes. Come in, eat. Right, that's not bad.
Feast on my
right, because you don't technically have to be in the guild with somebody to visit their house, right? I think you just have to be in a party or like BattleNet friends with them. So yeah. So again, all of that, like I kind of just say all that to say like, I think that housing has potential to incentivize people doing things together. And I think sometimes it's good to step back and think, okay, but how would this be valued in like an RPG situation, right? And I could totally picture the house being like, hey guys, we're meeting up in my abode before we go on this adventure to like fight this boss or something, right?
Yeah.
To take down this dragon. Let's feast up. Let's come to my house. Let's feast. Let's celebrate, and then we'll hit the road, and see what happens, right? We'll party before we walk through the gates of hell, I guess. I don't know. Whatever cool like little epic moment you want to have. So I know that was kind of like a weird direction, and I think one of the topic pieces we won't be able to hit today, but I think is important for us to talk about, and we'll maybe talk about next week, is just like, should all content be puggable?
Sure.
Right? Like, should everything in WoW be puggable? Should being a player who pugs 90% of the game be as easy or as accessible as somebody who isn't pugging? Like, WoW at the end of the day is an MMO, right? Are there benefits that should exist or not for being in the group? And if you're listening to that, I'd love to hear your input before we actually end up talking about, because I'd love to see how that kind of colors the conversation and gives us insight into that conversation. But I think, Chicken, that just you kind of segued well into that. Should things be puggable?
Yeah, I mean, you know me, I'm a pugger.
Yeah.
That's me, man.
Well, yeah,
that's about all I do.
Right, that's the season of life you're in right now. It's just like, man, best, like, easiest way for you to engage in the game is through pugging. So I think that'll be a really fun conversation. But we do have some listener questions. However, before we get to that, as always, a couple things I want to bring up. Number one, huge shout out to our Patreon supporters. You guys are freaking amazing. Y'all are making this happen. This podcast is here because of you, and I am so thankful. We are currently making some changes to our Patreon and how things operate with our Patreon, just because, we already struggled to find time to record the podcast, so making extra content on top of that has been a huge difficulty, and yet you guys have been so supportive throughout that process. But we, as always, our Patreon supporters get priority on questions that they ask. However, we are now also giving our Patreon listeners the chance to submit their questions via audio. And so we'll have one audio question today from one of our Patreon supporters. We love the audio questions. It kind of just brings a new voice onto the podcast every time, and it's fun to do that. On top of that, we will, I believe I'm correct on this information, but we will begin live streaming our episode recordings to our Patreon as well. So if you're on our Patreon, you can actually listen in on those recordings, and then they'll be saved on there whenever we're done recording. So it'll be a little bit of a rougher cut than what you would get on the normal podcast platforms, but you'll get access sooner than everyone else will, depending on when we record, how late into the weekend we record. Depends on how early you get it, so that can vary. But we're just so excited. We're just so thankful for our podcast listeners. Thank you guys so much. If you are a podcast listener or Patreon supporter, we ask that you join our Discord and connect your Patreon account to your Discord account, and that will give you special access to secret channels in there where we talk about things, where we take our Patreon questions, and even sometimes do live recordings in there as well that allow you to kind of listen in. Although I think we'll start streaming directly to Patreon, which will be nice. And the other thing I want to mention is our guild. Astra is an amazing guild. We love our guild. We love being a part of our guild. It's not a podcast guild, right? It's not necessarily a guild for the podcast. But man, we do have a lot of listeners in the guild who hang out and have a wonderful time. So if you're looking for a guild that is just a genuinely wonderful place to be, a social guild that has players from all different areas of the game, from mountain farmers to high-end M+ competitors, it is just a really enjoyable place to be. And one thing that we value a lot is helping players get into content that they are excited to do. And so if you want to learn some M+ or try out some raiding, we want to invite you to our guild to kind of experience all of it and build some friendships. If you're interested in joining Astra, you can follow the Discord link down in the description. That takes you to the Warband Discord, not the Astra Discord, to the Warband Discord, and find the Join Astra channel, and we will do our best to get you an invite into the guild. Lastly, we still have a decent handful of spots left in the Warband neighborhood. If you would like to put a house in the Warband neighborhood, it is the Horde Side Razorwind Shores neighborhood. All you have to do, again, join our Discord. Everything's in the Discord. Join our Discord, and just let us know, probably in just the general chat, hey, I want to join the neighborhood. This is my name, my character's name, and server, and we can add you to the list. But that's everything that we want to update you on. Let's move into our listener questions. So first, we have a question coming in from Glocks. Glocks is a phenomenal supporter of the podcast. Also, low-key gives me some good tips and tricks during raid nights. He hangs out, watches our raid streams, and so super, super helpful. He has actually saved us a good number of pulls when we probably should have wiped. Now, in the past...
Wait, actually?
Yeah, he's been super helpful. So in the past, Glocks has, I wouldn't say wasted his question opportunities, but has maybe unwisely used his question opportunities to always ask us if Blood DK will become meta. It still has not become meta. I wish it would. I really do, Glocks, but I'm glad to see that you're sending us another question, and this time it's in the form of an audio question. I'm certain it's not going to be Blood DK related. Let's take a listen.
In a world where Brewmaster monks and guardian druids are running rampant, will Season 2 bring the year of the Blood DK meta? Tune in next time.
All right, so it was another Blood DK question.
Yeah, you kind of walked into that one, didn't you?
I you know what? I should have seen it coming. And I did not. I just advanced right into it. So
I didn't either, actually, to be honest. I was like, oh man, Clock, sending in a nice question.
Yeah, dude, I love Glocks. This is a question. I was like, I'm ready. Here's the thing, Glocks. I wish, dude. I want Blood DK to be meta. I think it has some survivability issues right now, which, I mean, again, with tanks, really, that's the biggest deal, right? If you have some survivability. In the Pug 12-ish kind of range, it does feel great. Like, I'm really enjoying playing it. My damage, dude, is slamming in keys. Like, on, like, big pools, I'm often, like, top or near the top in damage.
Dang.
I don't know if you're getting the same thing. Maybe I'm just overgeared for the content I'm doing.
You're probably just overgeared for the content.
Yeah, I am like 286 and I'm running like 13, so maybe.
Oh, well, I'm only like 280. I wouldn't say I'm like the top of the DPS chart.
Dude, I've been slamming damage. Like I was just running some runs with like some guild members who they pump, and I was at the top on some of the trash, like a good number of trash pulls. I'm either like on trash pulls, I'm either near the top or I'm like keeping up with everybody. I'm never far behind. And I actually think that always feels good. That always feels really good on a tank. I think a sweet spot for tanks is with big trash pulls to like, you want to kind of feel like you're pretty dang competitive with DPS. But then on boss fights, it should be pretty clear that like you're not the DPS.
You're a tank. Yeah. That's how it always is for me. It's like,
that's where that. Even though I wasn't doing, I'm not doing terrible. I actually think we talked about it a bit before. I think tanks are in a really good spot this season as a whole.
Yeah, I think they are too.
I'm really happy with the damage I'm doing. Maybe some survivability things could be better, but is what it is. We always talk about how tanks should do more damage, and right now feels like a really good representation of that. At least in the spec that I'm playing, it kind of feels really good, which I like. My general is like a great tank should do more damage than like a bad DPS, but a good tank should never do more damage than a good DPS, right? Like that kind of philosophy. Back to Glock's original question though, dude. I hope Blood DK becomes meta, but they would need some really good like defensive buffs or like a rework of something in order to get to that spot. I just don't see it yet, but you never know. You never know. Like 12.1 comes out and they give us like an Apex talent rebuild that just crushes it, and now we're like invincible.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be hard for us to be meta anytime soon, but I could be wrong. We were meta going into we were meta going into midnight, but then they just nerfed it.
They nerfed us hard. All right, we got a question coming in from Tiger Ace Ray, one of the moderators for our community, which is wonderful. So shout out to him. I don't often shout out, our mods and the work that they do, but they do work really hard, helping get people connect with the neighborhood, make sure people have their questions answered, and everything else. But Tiger Ace Ray said, question for Chicken. What is your preference for frying? Canola, peanut, vegetable, avocado, or corn oil? Corn oil. I said coin. But you're not frying them in like penny oil, so.
I mean, I like olive oil, to be honest. Yeah, but I have been using avocado oil recently, so that feels pretty good.
Nice, dude. I exclusively use seed oils.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding, dude. I think that's supposed to be like terrible for you, I think.
I don't ask me.
I use beef tallow.
I look like a health enthusiast.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, another question coming from Goggle Dog. He said, an evil wizard has trapped you in a room that leaves you with access to Discord and World of Warcraft. Nothing more. Your significant other is working a second job to pay your ransom now, but it'll take a few months for you to be freed. What kind of quote-unquote date nights do you plan to show your appreciation for the upcoming ransom payment? Keep in mind, you can use Discord and WoW only.
I'm so confused.
So basically the idea is like, he's trying to set up a situation where you have to do, like, you have to plan fun things to do with your significant other using only Discord and WoW. And he's kind of setting up in a way where you can't just be like, oh, well, we would rather just go outside and go on a walk. Does that make sense? Like, Basically, I don't know. He's trying to make sure that we can't, like, mess up the theoretical question, right? You ever ask somebody a question and they just, like, try to sidestep it, and you're like, dude, just a fun question. Just answer this stupid question.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's got to be player housing, right? That's it.
Building a house.
Player housing all day long, baby.
Dude,
that's all we're doing.
High keys, probably. High keys, pushing high keys.
Yeah?
No, dude. My wife and I have been doing sevens together. It's probably a little bit on the hard side for her. I think she's struggling with the watching out for mechanics and keeping damage up at the same time. I think that's where she's starting to stumble a little bit. But her survivability is really good, which is nice. And we've been timing them pretty well. She wants to kind of work towards that KSM mount, which I think is cool. So we've been doing a couple dungeons here and there. I think only a few left to go.
Dude,
but that actually would not be our date nights, for sure not. What were we saying though?
What would they be then?
It would probably, like, if there was something, again, in this hypothetical situation, the purpose of this date night is to show appreciation for them helping pay off my ransom, right? So I would actually probably spend as much time as I could helping her farm, like, decor, right? Like, decor farming. Yeah. That would probably make her more happy than anything else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That
makes sense to me.
Yeah. Next question. From Snarky. We got another one for Chicken. We got some very specific chicken questions today. Question for Chicken. What is your favorite chicken-inspired dish? What's with these, like, food questions for you?
Yeah, so this one's kind of hard, and some people might hate this answer, but low-key, I think it's underrated.
The chicken
I
cheesesteak.
think this is I think this is an underrated chicken dish, and it's chicken pot pie.
Ooh.
Like the actual
Ooh, interesting
like
choice.
KFC like pot pie.
Yeah.
You know, not like what some Pennsylvania Dutch people might call like slippery pot pie, right?
I have no clue.
Whoa. If you've never heard of that, you
Never
are
heard of that.
poof. I should change your life one of these days. One day I will change your life with that because it's like one of the best dishes ever. It's more of like a Pennsylvania like Dutch kind of thing. But yeah, like I think that's probably one of the better ones. Other than that, like just a good old chicken bacon ranch wrap,
Chicken
some
cheesesteak.
lettuce, cheese, tomato.
You know what's funny? I keep jokingly saying chicken cheesesteak because I love cheesesteaks, but never once have I ever ordered a chicken cheesesteak in my life. I don't even know if I've ever
I have a couple times.
I don't know if I've ever even eaten one because like if the option is there, I would just get a normal beef cheesesteak every day of the week. Although you know what's coming back, right? So the release date of this episode also happens to be my birthday, but the release date of this episode. The release date of this episode is also the day that Chick-fil-A brings back their honey pepper pimento sandwich, and I am very excited for that. So that's one of my favorite chicken
what a
dishes.
birthday present.
Yeah, it's a very good birthday present. We got a question coming in from Goon. This is probably more of a question for me, but Chicken, if you have an answer for it, feel free to jump in too. If you could change one piece of WoW lore from any part from original WoW to today's WoW, what would you change to make the game's lore 100% different? I don't know if there's like one thing I could do that would make the lore like completely, totally, radically different. But if I could go in and change one lore thing that I think would have really good implications overall, I would actually go back and redo Sylvanas' whole War Chief arc. I don't think I love that Vol'jin died as quickly as he did. I felt like his time as War Chief was very limited, right? He was War Chief in WoD, basically. But he was barely in WoD because we were on a whole different planet and he wasn't super involved in a whole different timeline. And then he kind of dies right off the bat in Legion, almost. So, like, it kind of just, like, he didn't feel very involved as War Chief. But let's say we keep that plot line for Vol'jin, right? Even though I'd probably want to change that too. Let's say we keep that, and Sylvanas becomes War Chief. The whole, like, Sylvanas becomes War Chief and then just starts doing terrible, horrendous things because she's tricked by the jailer, and so she has to start these, like, unnecessary wars and kill lots of people because she believes doing so will help save everybody from a terrible afterlife. That story's kind of a little weird to me, and I think it misses out on how awesome of a character Sylvanas is. Sylvanas was like an iconic, really cool OG character in World of Warcraft that had so much potential that they kind of just threw it down the drain. If I had the chance to go back, and I've mentioned on the podcast before, if I had the chance to go back, I would actually have taken a totally different approach with Sylvanas. Instead of making Sylvanas War Chief and just being like, well, Sylvanas kind of does sketchy things sometimes, so we're going to have to do like mega sketchy things as War Chief, and she was actually tricked and betrayed the whole time, and she's now a villain, but she's only a villain because she was lied to, but also she kind of is sketchy, so it works out. I would have gone and said, you know what, Sylvanas becomes War Chief, and in her past as leader of the Forsaken, she did commit some sketchy things. She had some like really dirty ways of dealing with things. But now as War Chief of the Horde, she has to learn how to lead from the light, right? Like learn how to lead out of the shadows, no longer in the shadows, right? And how to be a respectable, honorable War Chief. And I think if Sylvanas had done that, I think she would have been awesome. I think she would have been a significantly awesome character. If you want to talk about like a female character in a game who would be super highly respected and cared for and like just looked up to tremendously, that would have been Sylvanas in that role, right? Like people would have looked at Sylvanas as a character and been like, yeah, like she went through a lot, like the way she was killed by Arthas and then like tortured in the afterlife, being raised as a banshee, and then having to step up as the leader of the Forsaken, and she kind of did some sketchy things. in if you've ever watched Naruto, it's an anime about ninja. You have what's called the Hokage, and the Hokage is like the leader of the ninja village, right? But then they have this concept of like a shadow Hokage, where the shadow Hokage isn't an elected figure. It's not even like a recognizable title. Most people don't even know this person's doing anything, but it's kind of usually a really powerful ninja who is doing some like sketchier, more dangerous kind of in the shadows work for the Hokage, doing those things that are like that kind of have to be done most of the time. Sometimes they're the worst, but kind of has to be done, and no one else is going to do it, so they'll do it, right? Sylvanas at times was kind of that for the Horde, where she was working on some underhanded things, but it kind of, you know, like you needed that shadow leader to kind of do that, right? And it was like a little questionable, but it was there, right? It would have been really cool then to see her have to grow, right? Have to grow as a tactic, because she was a brilliant tactical leader. So to be a leader, a war chief of the Horde, was actually not a terrible fit, but it would have been so cool to watch her grow in her role, right? It also would have put us in a very different spot in Midnight right now, having the war chief of the Horde have like a stronger connection. Obviously, Silvermoon City is a Horde city, right? But also now the war chief of the Horde is also an elf themselves, right? Even though they're undead, right? And so it's kind of like this return to the city that they tried to protect before, and now they have the chance to really protect it again when it's under attack once more. I don't know. I just feel like Sylvanas had so much potential and could have been continued on as like a new version of Sylvanas, as this like having to learn how to lead well. And I think people would have loved it, and you wouldn't have like thrown her in the crapper as a character. I don't know. I just hated what they did with the whole BFA Shadowlands arc.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't disagree.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I have literally like no idea.
All right. So, question from Rosticote. He says, "Here's my question. It might get a bit wordy, so feel free to summarize if needed. I've been to the mall. I know what the void fears," is a line from The War Within that really got me thinking. What could it be? I have a couple theories, and would like to hear your thoughts. 1, it is Sylvanas. The void has peered into the future, seen the possibilities, and the only times in which they lose Sylvanas as present. Maybe they don't see what she will do, but they have seen her, and that is enough to cause fear. 2, the first ones are real, and there's a way they could return, or their powers could be used to contain/restrict the void, somehow leading to its demise. I tend to think that the first ones were made up by the Titans to hide their true involvement in the Shadowlands, but who knows? I like my first theory better, but both feel possible. What do you think? Yeah, so my thoughts, I don't think it's Sylvanas. I don't think the void terribly fears Sylvanas. At the end of the day, she's a fairly mortal, I say fairly mortal because she's technically undead, but fairly mortal being. It doesn't seem like the caliber of being that the void would fear, right? When the void is concerned about like consuming all of everything, I don't think one person with a bow and arrow is like who they're like terribly fearing. It could be the first ones, but the first ones aren't a Shadowlands exclusive, right? From what we understand, the first ones are outside just that realm. Like they were supposedly involved with everything. We just kind of saw a little bit more of it in the Shadowlands, right? I don't think it's the first ones either. I mean, it's possible that the Void fears the first ones in that regard, that they could show up and mess up their plans. It's a possibility. The other one that I would put out there is the Devourers, right? And I think we saw some Devourers recently. It might have been in the War Within. It might have been the Midnight. I can't picture exactly where we had seen them. Maybe they're in Voidstorm? I don't know. Anyways, the Devourers to me seem like a potential option, right? That maybe the Devourers are a natural enemy of the Void in terms of like that they can consume the Void too, as they did with the Anima in Shadowlands. I wouldn't be surprised if it was that as well. But I don't have a direct answer. I couldn't tell exactly. We do know one other. We do know that at one point the Void tried to invade the Shadowlands, right? In Bastion, and they got taken out pretty heavily. So there could be something even there. maybe the armies of the Shadowlands is something. So I'm not 100% sure, but there's a couple options even just outside the ones that you had listed. Chicken, I'm sure you have lots of thoughts on that one too.
I literally have 0.
Okay. Wow. Normally you're the lore guy, so caught me
Oh
off
my
guard.
gosh.
All right. Anyways, that's all the questions we have for this week's episode. If you want to leave your question for the podcast, once again, it's in the Discord. Jump in the Discord, go to the Pod Questions channel, and leave your questions. We love to be able to answer them and talk about them. It is wonderful. If you are listening to the podcast on the podcast platform, please give us a rating on there. If you're enjoying the podcast, that helps us out tremendously. It really, really does.
Rating.
Yeah, I was reading some of our, our reviews on Apple Podcasts. I'm just so thankful. You guys were so kind and thoughtful in what you wrote, and it meant a lot.
That's
and
nice.
We're working on YouTube, trying to beef up our YouTube channel. So, whenever you can, give a like on there as well, and we'll continue to kind of improve on that. But everybody, thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of the Warband. It is always a blast to be able to record with Chicken and then hear back from the community. We're 93 episodes into this. We're getting close to episode 100.
93.
And it's been a blast. I just want, just kind of close out saying thank you.
Yep, and this one is brought to you by Guild Wars 3, baby. Woo!
That's right. We're sponsored by Guild Wars 3, the best of the Guild Wars trilogy. And if you pre-download the game today, you'll get a free mount and also a armor. You'll get free armor and a free mount if you pre-order today, and they'll be gold. The mount and the mount and the armor will be gold, and it'll glow. It'll have a glow on it, but not like a paladin glow. It'll have like a cool glow, like you're radiating, but not like a paladin radiating. It's like aura. You're aura farming. That's right. Not only does it give you a glow, you get a special pose when you wear this armor. So pre-order Guild Wars 3 today and use code Warband. If you use code Warband, not only do you get the gold armor, but you also get Warband inspired armor. You're probably thinking, what is Warband inspired armor? It's like the gold armor, but the aura is even more aura, and instead of gold, the armor is armor colored, as if you're a part of a warband. There's blood. There's some blood on your armor splattered on there because you're in the warband and you've caused war.
What?